my string making jig there, and I've made a proper string for the Warbow, but it's an absolute nightmare to string. My stringers are all either too long and fat or a bit too short, and I'm just struggling to string it without either hurting my back or crapping myself. So I've resorted to breaking out the old winch so I can winch it back slowly on one of my tillerin strings and then slip the other string on properly. Then we can have a look at the shape of it. Meanwhile, there's Emily Cat. What do you want, Ems? Do you want to go out the front? I ain't going to go out till I make sure it's safe. There might be bears and stuff. Yeah, so that managed to get it strung with a lot less pain. I'm giving it a little pull and I think it looks better, so I'll sit on the floor and let you guys see. And then hopefully, if the weather's nice tomorrow and everyone's going roving, I'll take it and let my test pilot give it a whirl. Right, that was a decent pull. Yeah, it hasn't really lost any draw weight. Mind, of course, previously it had been sat braced for a few hours, whereas now that's very fresh. And that, on a Warbow, I mean, that can make a couple of pounds difference easily. But we'll have a quick look at that video, and weather permitting, it will get shot tomorrow. I mean, you can hear the tension in that. I've got to serve the centre of it yet. I mean, that was another reason for stringing it, so I can mark, you know, where I want the serving. It's still looking slightly strong on that lower limb, but I'll review the video. I just took a tad off on that lower limb. No, it don't look too bad. Right, just a little aside about serving a bowstring for a Warbow. Now this is only about 10 strands, so it's too thin for the knock on a Warbow. So what I do is I start serving and get about, you know, half a dozen turns on there, and then I'll lay in a length of linen thread. Then I'll do another 5 turns, put in another piece of linen thread. You know, just hold it there and get a couple of turns to hold it in place and keep winding. So you can see I've ended up with 4 bundles of linen thread added in to pad that out to Warbow thickness. Then once I get down to where the fingers will no longer be on it, I'll snip one of these off and keep whipping, go down another inch or so, snip off the other one, so it'll end up being gracefully tapered from thin to nice and fat for your fingers and the knock, and then thin again. The actual linen thread, I found that on eBay, absolutely wonderful stuff. Natural linen thread. You can see you can untwist it so that it's not too tight, which is what I do when I'm whipping it into the serving. I untwist it like that, rub it with beeswax. But that'll last me the rest of my lifetime. But that was a nice find off eBay, and I could make bowstrings with it. It's good for other whipping applications, putting round grips, all sorts. And if you find there's any little bits of, you know, white linen peeking through the serving, you can just blacken them up with a good old pen, and then give it a good rub with a lump of beeswax. And what I do is I've got a bit of leather that I just rub back and forth firmly over that, which sort of burnishes it. But just to give you an idea how much it's padded out, let's have a look on the verniers. So this is the tail end where it's just served over the bare string. Yeah, 2.1 millimeters, and at the fat bit where the knock will be, 3.05. There you go.